Yeah, we are going live now on Facebook. Good evening, all.
Good evening.
I welcome all of you for the 441st Telangana Jana Vedika's every Sunday meeting. Today's talk is on water. And for this talk, we have brought in a very important and a man who knows everything about mining, water, and whatnot, Professor Ramakrishna Rao, S. Ramakrishna Rao. Before, I don't want to waste much of your time. I request James Prashant to give a proper introduction of the subject and also the introduction of the speaker. In fact, Swati has given a very good write-up on the speaker in the poster and also the invite. I welcome all of you and over to James. Later, Dr. Apatota Srinivaslu will do the moderation and also he will do the moderation and he will invite the speaker to speak. Thank you so much. James.
Good evening. I welcome everyone for the 441st forum session of Telangana Jana Vedika. Our topic today is water, elixir of life. There is one element on earth which is very widely and abundantly available, and it is water. It is omnipresent. It covers about 70% of our planet. Our very life depends on it as well as other living beings on earth. The importance of water can be fully understood when we speak of it in planetary terms, for it not only gives life to everything, it also shapes the destiny of mankind, who now shapes the world more than any other creature since deep history and the start of the Anthropocene period. Water gives shape to the social, political, economic, and political stories of men. With modern delivery systems, some of us are used to having access to water in most places that we go and travel. But things are already under stress. This precious resource is being overutilized at a faster rate than it can get replenished. Then, we are looking at a manifold increase of population in the coming 3 to 4 decades. This increase is going to put a tremendous stress on the most important resource for human beings, that is water. And fresh water amounts to only about 3% of the global surface. For many who have taken the presence of water as granted, it is difficult to view it and understand it through the lens of politics and the nightmarish scenarios that are bound to emerge with this resource getting depleted. Acclaimed journalist Robert Kaplan says that while the media might describe violence and riots in terms of ethnic and religious conflict, it is apparent that there is something else going on which will render regions ungovernable in Africa, South Asia, and South America, among other places. Of course, he is talking about the depletion of natural resources and water. Think tanks and public policy institutions that come up with policy studies are filled with too much technical language, which is only understood by other experts. And these important studies are also poorly funded. These issues relating to diminishing natural resources and of the environment are met with lack of interest and skepticism by the bureaucratic experts that matter. And needless to say, environmental issues are met with antagonism from the political fronts. The defining question and topic, debate and discussion of the 21st century is environment. And we have to place water as the core subject in this matter. How we address this movement shall shape the future and the generations in it. Kaplan further says, it is what it is, the national security issue for all nations. And according to him, the political and strategic impact of surging populations, spreading disease, deforestation and soil erosion, water depletion, air pollution, and possibly rising sea levels in critical overcrowded regions like the Nile Delta and Bangladesh Developments that will prompt mass migrations and in turn inside group conflicts will be the core policy challenges. Water shortages will become dangerous in such diverse locations such as Saudi Arabia, Central Asia, and Southwestern United States. Wars could erupt between Egypt and Hungary over the Nile River, and even in Europe, there are tensions over the damming of the river Danube between Slovakia and Hungary. These are classic case studies of how ethnic and historical disputes can overlap and fuse with environmental crisis. Clinton's advisor, political scientist Michael Mandelbaum, has said, the environment is part of a terrifying array of problems that will define a new threat to our security. We are now looking at a 9 billion plus population by 2050. And 95% of the population increase will be in the poorest regions of the world, according to the National Academy of Sciences, and mostly where governments have little ability to function or improve. Vast populations will be struck in history, and their attempts to rise above poverty, cultural strife, and ethnic strife will be beset by a lack of water to drink, lack of water for farming soil, and space to survive. In such a situation, one can only imagine the choices in government these populations have. Homer Dixon, who successfully juxtaposed military studies with the physical environment, says, the worst degradation is generally where the population is highest, and the population is generally highest where the soil is the best. So we're degrading Earth's best soil. And he concludes that as environmental degradation proceeds, the size of the potential social disruption will increase. Now, is the work being done on these issues enough? The Economist Impact says, water is central to adaptation since 90% of climate disasters are water related. The floods of 2021 and influential reports from IPCC and WMO has brought global attention to the water crisis. Many countries and regions announced water shortages, and COP26 hosted the first ever water pavilion which pledged to combat deforestation, and there were also negotiations on the protection of natural systems essential to healthy water cycles. We have to keep in mind that the population under water scarcity increased from 0.24 billion, that is 14% of global population in the 1900s, to 3.8 billion, 58% in the early 2000s. Almost all the trajectories show an increasing trend in water scarcity. Now this figure is set to increase to more than 5 billion by 2050. While at the same time, floods also are increasing. Addressing these issues requires significant political efforts and investment. Sustainable management of freshwater resources is challenging to coordinate since most water crosses national and international political borders. Since water touches everything, the importance of collaboration across sectors and borders can't be stressed enough. But the failure of cross-sectoral and cross-border collaboration has been starkly visible in the COVID-19 response. Overcoming the traditional siloed approach will be critical in addressing the water crisis, which seems to be the norm. We have to give an increasing role to nature-based solutions. Forested watersheds provide 75% of the world's accessible fresh water, according to the estimates of the UN Food and Agricultural Association. And more than half of the world's population depend on these water resources. Protecting, managing, and restoring natural systems such as forests, wetlands, marine, and coastal ecosystems is essential for healthy water systems and the well-being of our planet and everything living in it. Water gives life, and the lack of it also takes away. This is not just a relevant topic, but an important matter for the entire planet and, of course, for our country too. And we are very happy, in fact, very thrilled that we have Professor S. Ramakrishna to speak to us and give his views on this defining topic and answer all our questions. A very good evening to you, sir, from all of us at Telangana Jana Vedika.
Good evening.
Professor S. Ramakrishna is former Vice Chancellor, Krishna University. He is also former in charge Vice Chancellor, JNTU, Kakinada, Adikavi Nannaya University, Rajahmundry, member, EAC Non-Coal Mines, Ministry of Environment and Forest, Government of India. Former Chairman, Environmental Monitoring Committee, Visakhapatnam Port Trust. Member, Technical Committee, Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam. Former Director, CPC, Geetham University. Former member, AP State Expert, Appraisal Committee, Government of India. Former Joint Director, Ministry of Environment and Forests. Professor retired, Andhra University. Professor of Civil Engineering, retired, GIT, Geetham University, Visakhapatnam, Andhra Pradesh. And we are most honored to have Professor Ramakrishna in our midst, and also very privileged to have a great intellectual in our midst. And now, before I hand over the floor to our co-moderator, as per our tradition at Telangana Jana Vedika, I would like to read the preamble of our constitution. We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, and to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economic, and political, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and to provide among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. Our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact, and give to ourselves this Constitution. Now I would like to hand over the floor to the moderator.
Thank you, James. Thank you. Thank you, James. Telangana Jana Vedika Zoom online meeting to which is the 20 Professor Ramakrishna Rao Garki, Vedika Sabhyulu, మిత్రులందరికీ సాయంకాలం నమస్కారాలు తెలియజేస్తూ అందరికీ స్వాగతం సుస్వాగతం. తెలంగాణ జన వేదిక 441వ మీటింగ్ సందర్భంగా ఈ 441వ అంశము అన్ని అంశాల్లో ఇది చాలా ప్రధానమైనటువంటి అంశంగా టాపిక్ గా మనకు కనపడుతుంది. ఎందుకంటే ఈ భూమి మీద ఏ జీవి కూడా ఏ ప్రాణి కూడా నీరు లేకుండా బ్రతకలేనటువంటి ఒక ప్రధానమైనటువంటి అంశాన్ని మనము ఇవాళ ఎన్నుకోవడం అనేటువంటి జరిగింది. అది చెట్టు కావచ్చు, మనుషులు కావచ్చు, జంతువులు కావచ్చు, ఏదైనా కూడా ఏ ప్రాణికైనా నీరు అనేటువంటిది చాలా ప్రధానమైనటువంటి ఆధారం. నీరు లేకుండా ఉండలేనటువంటి పరిస్థితి. మనిషికి ఎంత డబ్బున్నా అది పనికిరానటువంటిది, కానీ నీరు అనేటువంటిది లేకుంటే మనిషి చనిపోయేటువంటి కారణం. జీవి ఏ జీవి అయినా కూడా చనిపోతుంది. కాబట్టి నీరు అనేటువంటిది అంత ప్రాముఖ్యత కలిగినటువంటి, మనిషికి గాలి ఎంత అవసరమో నీరు కూడా అంతే ప్రాధాన్యత కలిగింది. కాబట్టి ఇవాళ ఇది చాలా ప్రధానమైనటువంటి ముఖ్యాంశంగా నేను భావిస్తున్నాను. సో ఎనీవే, ఏది ఏమైనప్పటికీ భారతదేశంలో 140 కోట్ల జనాభా కలిగి ఉన్నటువంటి ఈ దేశానికి ఈ యొక్క నీరు అనేటువంటిది ఎలాగా మనము ఏర్పాటు చేయడం జరుగుతుంది. ప్రభుత్వాలు, అటు కేంద్ర ప్రభుత్వం కానీ ఇటు రాష్ట్ర ప్రభుత్వాలు కానీ, ముఖ్యంగా నీటి కోసం రాష్ట్రాల మధ్య యుద్ధాలు జరుగుతున్నాయి, దేశాల మధ్య యుద్ధాలు ఇంకా కొనసాగుతూనే ఉన్నాయి. ఇవాళ రాష్ట్రాల మధ్యలో ప్రధానంగా అటు ఆంధ్ర రాష్ట్రానికి, ఇటు తెలంగాణ రాష్ట్రానికి, మహారాష్ట్రకు, ఇటు కర్ణాటకకు, తమిళనాడుకు మధ్యలో కూడా ఈ నీటి యుద్ధాలు అనేటువంటివి చాలా ప్రధానంగా జరుగుతున్నాయి. వీటిని మనము చాలా చూస్తూనే ఉన్నాం. అయితే ఈ నీటిని విచ్చలవిడిగా వాడడం వల్ల భూగర్భ జలాలన్నీ కూడా, గ్రౌండ్ వాటర్ అంతా కూడా తగ్గిపోతుంది అనేటువంటి విషయం కూడా మీకు చాలా స్పష్టంగా తెలుసు అందరికీ. కోసం ఈ యొక్క నీటి వనరుల కోసం కేంద్ర ప్రభుత్వం కానీ రాష్ట్ర ప్రభుత్వాలు కానీ లక్షలాది కోట్ల రూపాయలు ఖర్చు పెట్టేసి అనేక ప్రాజెక్టులు ఖర్చుతున్నాయి. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్, ఈ మధ్య కాలంలో తెలంగాణ రాష్ట్రం ప్రత్యేక రాష్ట్రం ఏర్పడిన నాటి నుండి కాళేశ్వరం అనేటువంటి ఒకే ఒక ప్రాజెక్టుకు 1,20,000 కోట్ల రూపాయల ఖర్చుతోని ఒక ప్రాజెక్టును నిర్మించి ఈ రాష్ట్రంలో ప్రతి పంట చేనుకు నీటిని అందిస్తాను అని చెప్పేసి ఒక కార్యక్రమాన్ని యొక్క తెలంగాణ రాష్ట్ర ప్రభుత్వం ఏర్పాటు చేయడం అనేటువంటి జరిగింది. అదేవిధంగా ఈ మధ్య కాలం లోపల అంటే దేశం లోపల మేజర్ ఇరిగేషన్ ప్రాజెక్టులను అటు కేంద్ర ప్రభుత్వాలు ఇటు రాష్ట్ర ప్రభుత్వాలు కడుతున్నప్పటికీ కూడా నీటి సమస్య ఇంకా గ్రామీణ ప్రాంతాల్లో నీటి సమస్య ఉంది. కాబట్టి ఈ నీరు లేకుండా చాలా పంటలు కూడా ఎండిపోతున్నాయి. ఇవాళ మనం ప్రతిరోజు పంటలన్నీ ఎండిపోతూ ఇవాళ వాటి అన్నిటినీ కాలబెట్టేటువంటి పరిస్థితి కూడా కనబడుతుంది. కాబట్టి నీరు అనేటువంటిది చాలా ప్రధానమైనటువంటి జీవికి, ప్రతి జీవికి నీరు లేకుండా ఉండలేం. ఇవాళ రాష్ట్రాలు దేశాల మధ్య యుద్ధాలు జరుగుతున్నాయి. కాబట్టి నీరు నిత్య జీవనాధారం అనేటువంటి అంశం మీద ప్రొఫెసర్ ఎస్ రామకృష్ణారావు గారు వారు ఫార్మర్ వైస్ ఛాన్సలర్ కృష్ణా యూనివర్సిటీలో వారు ఫార్మర్ వైస్ ఛాన్సలర్ గా పనిచేస్తారు. మరియు అదే విధంగా ఇన్ఛార్జ్ వైస్ ఛాన్సలర్ JN2 కాకినాడ, ఆదికవి నన్నయ్య యూనివర్సిటీకి మరియు ఫార్మర్ డైరెక్టర్ గీతం యూనివర్సిటీలో పనిచేశారు. వారు ఈ అంశం మీద మాట్లాడవలసిందిగా ప్రొఫెసర్ ఎస్ రామకృష్ణారావు గారిని మాట్లాడవలసిందిగా సాధారణంగా ఆహ్వానిస్తారు. థ్యాంక్ యూ సార్. ప్రొఫెసర్ రామకృష్ణ.
నమస్కారం అండి. నేను ఒక 2 minutes తర్వాత ఐ విల్ బి షేరింగ్ మై PPT. హలో, కెన్ యు హియర్ మీ? సభకు నమస్కారం. ఈరోజు నాకు ఈ తెలంగాణ జనవేదిక వారు ఒక మంచి అవకాశం ఇచ్చి మీ అందరితోటి కలవడానికి ఒక మంచి అవకాశం ఇచ్చినందుకు వారికి సదా కృతజ్ఞుడిని. I'm very happy to associate myself with this particularly Jana Vedika, and especially I am thankful to Sri Ramarao Garu, Manoj Reddy, and our own Professor UB Reddy, who has introduced me to Ramarao Garu for these things, for coming into your fold. Another important aspect is today Prashant has given a very good insight of what is water and how water can be a source of what is your day-to-day life, source in the day-to-day life. And Srinivasulu Garu has introduced very nicely, and I am thankful to them for introducing me to this August gathering. Coming to this particularly water, if you are taking into consideration of future by 2030 onwards, we will be facing acute shortage of this water because of global warming. One phenomena which is being very much circulated is global warming, wherein we are expecting that the temperatures will rise from anywhere between 1.5 to 5 degrees centigrade. Imagine this much of temperature, when it increases, will be causing damage to our regular ecosystem or ecological balance that is being existing now. Essentially, this water is one of the most important resource which we have, and one important aspect we should all understand is 90% of our body, 95% of our body is made up of water. The rest of the whatever chemicals are there, maybe it's of calcium, magnesium, or whatever, phosphorus, it is only a small fractions of that we are within our body. But one thing everybody should understand or give importance to that is our body has got a interlinked mechanisms which function with each other, and unless until they coordinate and coexist with each other, we will not be living on the earth. Because unless until these functional systems in our body are together, they work, then only we will be able to live properly or live in healthy condition. That's why my first slide always I put as what is our body? First of all, why should we conserve this type of environment? You should all know, and we should know, because our body is such a big biochemical mechanism or machine which transfers whatever you eat, it transfers into energy, and it releases the waste products. And of course, our body has got a lot of internal mechanisms which will be flowing the energy through the blood to various parts. It will take the sensor organs with the help of sodium. So different types of materials, elements are there. I'll just start my presentation so that you will appreciate. You are looking at this. Can you just, is it coming onto the screen, please? You can just see.
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes.
Just comes.
But full, is it full? Yeah, I don't know. I will remove this side, this thing. Okay, minimize this. Sorry, it has gone. Hello?
Yes, sir. Please.
Where is that? What is the screen? How to once again share, resume share. Okay. Now I think, shall I read this sideline? I don't know. Totally. Can you see now?
Yes, sir.
Full screen, I will put it. Okay. This, I don't know how to remove this side. I minimize this.
Yes, sir. Full screen
Okay.
has come.
That's good. That's good. Okay. Because I've used normally some other providers. Zoom is a new one to me. Anyway, now you can see that the first slide, which I will be, where is this? It's not moving. You can see that we breathe 23,000 times a day. That is 24 hours. We have to have air. So the air will be containing oxygen and other types of materials. And oxygen is 16 kgs of oxygen is required for our body. And 1/5 of it will go to our brain. See, this I am just giving you what is happening in our body and why should we take care of these type of environmental things, because unless until we have the good conditions that exist around us, we will not be living safely or healthily. You can see that 1 square centimeter of 1 square inch of our body, skin, will be having 19 million cells. 1 million is 10 lakhs, you can see, and 60 hairs and 90 oil glands and 19,000 sensory cells. So they are all functioning for us for the betterment of our body. So we should take care of our body as long as we live on this earth. And another important aspect you can see here is the blood circulatory system in our body will, if you add up all the vessels, blood vessels, it will be around 150,000 kilometers. So such a long, stretch of blood vessels are there in our body. And you can see that the kidney will be filtering around 200 liters per day of blood, and our heart pumps around 60 million liters per year. You can imagine, this is the condition of our body, and this is the importance of our body, which we have to take care of it. So that's the reason. And we drink water around at least 2 to 3 liters of water every day, because we have to give the nutrients to our body and the different types of elements to our body to balance our body condition and sustainability. And if you just see what is actually the water is, 1 hydrogen, 1 oxygen bounded with 2 hydrogen atoms. It is very difficult because they are, totally fully satisfied type of atom or molecule, and it is very difficult to remove. Now we are all going for the hydrogen to be used as a fuel, and we are going to make it in future. Coming to our conditions, you can see that we have different water sources, and different countries have got a lot of storage of water or availability of water. For instance, in states, we have the highest amount of water that is present, around 16,801 liters per capita availability. Whereas in India, it is around 5,000 at that time, and now it is around 1,465, reduced, because the population has increased. The availability of 5,000 liters has reduced to 1,500 liters per capita in our country. Whereas in other countries, you can see that Europe around 14,818 and around 53,000 in the Philippines and other areas, and South Africa, it is around 36,908. So this unequal distribution or unequal distribution is a prime important aspect we should all learn, because as the population grows up, the water scarcity will be increasing. And let me just tell you, not the quantity, but the quality is also very, very important as far as water is concerned. Because the water which you are drinking, you should be sure enough to know the quality of the water because even the groundwater may be contaminated. You can see that you might have heard about arsenic contamination in West Bengal, 24 Parganas districts in West Bengal. And you know that fluoride is very rampant or very high in case of Nalgonda area. So like that, the elements which are there may also cause some sort of disturbance to our body, because as I told you, we have to maintain some isotonic conditions of our body, wherein all the elements will be together to give health to our body. Whereas the unequal distribution or the changes in the quality may cause damage to our body. You can see here that around 70% of the human body is water, around 90%, but of course, slowly the water importance has increased. And we know that almost 70% of the earth is covered water. Already our Prashant ji has given you the information. And one more important aspect here, you can see here, the most of our food is water. Tomatoes around 95% will there, spinach 91%, milk 90%, apples 85%. So water is available in the food. And water is also used for making or used in the industries. You can, yes, an example is given here, around 86,300 liters of water is used to produce 1 metric ton of steel. You can see that. That means water is also used in industrial areas, water is used for agriculture, water is used for our daily consumption. So water is so important in our daily life that we should be taking care of it. This is available anywhere. This, you can see that this picture gives an insight of how much of water, fresh water is available to us. If you take 100%, you can see here the available fresh water is around only 2.522%. The fresh water frozen or underground is 2.522, out of which only 0.389 is available in the wetlands, water vapor, rivers, etc. So our open rivers constitute only 0.389% of 100% that is available in the water. So we are tapping only very, very less amount of water, and that too we have to preserve this water. If you just go through the writings of Mahatma Gandhi ji, you will find that the water we should use as a resource, and we should take it as much as we require, and should not have any greed about any of these type of resources. And he says that we are loaning these type of resources from our children, and we should give it back in the same condition and the same quantities to the future generations. But of course, we are not doing that. We are overusing it. We are now seeing that the water is being extraneously used without any taking care of conserving them. So you can see that the freshwater lakes constitute only 0.009%, and total volume of water, cubic meters, 1,320 cubic kilometers of water is available in the oceans. Of course, ocean water, nowadays people are using the osmosis, reverse osmosis, and we are trying to clean up this water, because in future it is said that around 60% of the population will move towards the seas, because water is available in some condition or the other. We can take care of the water, or you can alter the water, salt water, into the drinking water, and the water is available only in the oceans. The rest of the hinterlands will not be having any water in the future. If you just go through Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam's words, we say that he says that by 2070, the water, today we are drinking at least 7 glasses of water or 8 glasses of water, and in future, in 2070, it is expected that you will be getting only half glass of water. That is also chargeable. It is not free. It is chargeable, because good water we require for our body maintenance. So you can imagine that the future trends are getting slowly bleaked up, or reducing about the water quality and also quantity. And we can see that 1/3 of humanity will be under acute drinking water scarcity by 2025. 2025 is not far off. We are already 2022. It is expected that within next 3 years, at least a lot of humans will be getting scarcity of water they will be feeling, and by 21st century the changes will be very, very rampant. And 25% of developing countries world population does not have any access of drinking water. So you can see that at least 25% will not be in that particular fold, because we have a lot of rivers which are flowing, but we are spoiling the rivers, are contaminating the rivers in unknown reasons also. I will show you some of the photographs how we are spoiling our own resources which are of good quality. And South Asia is home to a quarter of world population, but has only 43% of the world's poor. You can see that only 80% of all diseases in the developing countries is related to unsafe water supply and inadequate sanitation. You can see that 80% of all diseases, waterborne diseases are very, very prevalent, mostly in India, because we don't take care of it. Recently, I think you might have seen in Hyderabad also, there is a cross connection of sewage with the water, and people have not taken care of that. And ultimately, the people who are suffering and the children and all have suffered with this particular thing. So water will be having different types of elements, and you should be very careful. Essentially, the bacteria which is associated with the E. coli or Escherichia coli will be very dangerous, because they cause a lot of waterborne diseases in us. Due to absence of an adequate, reliable water supply and sanitation services, more than 15 million children aged from 0 to 4 die each year. This is very, very unfortunate that the water is available, but the resource is not clean. So how to clean? We always tell that please drink water after boiling. If it is coming even with the municipal corporation or municipality, you should be very careful, because the supply system may not be foolproof. Sometimes the supply system will be very dangerous, and sometimes the cross connections will be there, and it will be very unfortunate to see that the water quality will be of very bad quality will be coming to our houses. I will show you some of the photographs in the future in the upcoming slides. For the host of statistics compiled in preparation of the water decade, it has been estimated that only 100 million more people have to drink dirty water than in 1975, and 400 million more than 5 years ago have no sanitation. So in India, everything will be mixing up, and elsewhere, though they use water will be in a potable condition. It's a potable condition. In what quality will be there? I don't know. Today we are buying water. 1 liter of water is 20 rupees or so. In our day-to-day life, we buy that and drink, because we are not sure of what is the quality that is being supplied to us, or what is the quality that is coming to our houses. For us, at least 135 liters per day, that is 150 is the higher end, 135 liters in the urban areas and 90 liters in the rural areas is our standards, the LPCD, that is liters per day. Liters for consumption of day is 135 liters, and for industries and all, it is 50 to 1000 liter per hour per day. You can see the industries require a lot of water, and public services is only 100 liters per head per day. That is public latrines and all they use. One important aspect we should all understand here, I'm projecting this slide, because each rice, if you want to produce 1 kg of rice, you require 2000 liters, whereas wheat only 600 liters. And for meat, 1 kg of meat, that is, if you are eating today 1 kg of chicken, that is equivalent to around 25,000 liters of water. You can see here, 1,000 to 25,000 liters of water will make, after an animal takes that much of water, it will be preparing 1 kg of meat. 1 liter of milk an animal requires at least 400 liters of water. That means today, if you are consuming some sort of food, it is in equivalence of water. You are using so much of resource. And if you are wasting the food, for instance, you leave some rice or some vegetable curry in your plate. That means you are wasting water indirectly, and the food that is being wasted is causing the damage or causing the dent into your water system. Water as a resource. So I appeal to all of you, and many of you are very much matured and seasoned, that you please do not waste food. Kindly tell your children also, because children, most of the time, we see that in the case of marriages or functions, many times we see that the plates are full of some sort of food or the other, and most of that will be wasted, and it will be using a lot of water, and indirectly you are causing the damage to the environment. Another important aspect, recently I have conducted one seminar in one of the women's colleges about this water and water systems and ecology and environment. It is around 250 people have attended the meeting, conference, and in the meeting, after lunch, the lunch, we have measured the food wasted by them. The food is around 9 kgs of waste of rice, water, curries, etc., etc. It has come to 9 kgs. I felt so bad. And the next day, before the lunch, I made an announcement. Look, this is what is being damaging your environment. We have come for an environmental meeting. And you see that please do not waste food. You eat as much as you can. You put in your plate as much as you can eat. So next day, that same day, when I made an announcement, when we measured, it has come to around 900 grams of waste food. You can just imagine. Only thing is, we are unable to understand this particular aspect, and people are wasting food, though they feel that the food is, after all, it is something which is maybe salty, maybe something, it may be spicy. So they leave the food. But what I suggest to all the members and your children or families is, please do taste. If you like it, you eat more, put more of it and eat it. Do not waste after serving yourself into the plate. So kindly take this particular advice and don't think otherwise. So you can see that what is the amount of water which you are using for agriculture. India is an agro-based country, and we use 70% of the water. You have just seen how much of water is consumed by a plant to produce 1 kg of rice. 1 kg of rice equivalent to 2,000 liters of water. So agriculture uses 70%, industry uses 20%, and domestic only 10%. So in future, what is the type of utility of the water? Here you can see that agricultural utilization and mostly industries are being using this. Industry is widely dominant and using this water heavily in the worldwide, and some of them are being used for agriculture. And in future, it is said that you can see how many people are hanging to get one pail of water. You can see the rush that is there, and future, it is said that 2025 probably this much of rush will be there for every day to get water if the resource is available. Whereas in our own resources, this you can see in a village, what we see here is they have a resource here. Well, they use for different types of activities, that is washing, they take it for drinking, and the animals for drinking. They use for different purposes, and you can see that same water will be coming into around this particular well. Soil is a particular, soil can percolate some of this water, and where it is going into the aquifer, and the aquifer once again will be recharging this well, which will be completely contaminated. So this is the situation which villages may not understand. But what we have to do is, you have to see that the water is drained somewhere far away rather than in the close vicinity, because you can see that water is being once again going into the same resource. You can see here, okay, borewell may be 100 feet or 200 feet or whatever well you take. But what is the neighboring condition? What is the existing condition here is, you can see the same water will be going and slotted pipes will be there. Through slotted pipes, the water will be contaminated. So the conditions which we are living, we don't understand that we are spoiling this type of water resource, though you use for different purposes. You can see here the same way in the villages. What you see here, you can see a toilet is here and toilet, exhaust is, the outlet is being connected to this water. This drain will be going, it will be joining this, what you call small drains. And this same water will be percolating. You can see here, the well will be somewhere in this area and same water will be percolated. These are unlined canals, unlined small drains, which will be percolating the same dirty water into your system. Same thing you can see, this is the well, and you can see that the dirty water is coming and at least surface runoff is coming and it will be percolating and going into your well. And nobody bothers about it. Nobody knows about it. At least I request that Jana Vedika, Telangana Jana Vedika, if they find such situations, kindly you have to divert this by having a small, far off from the what you call well. We can make small what you call clean environment in the same villages where they are using this, or put a pipeline. You what you call educate the people, put a pipeline and discharge somewhere far off instead of contaminating the wells that are there here. You can see that lake, a big lake is also contaminated because almost all this type of drains will bring the water and join the water bodies, large water bodies. And you can see the fish which is being trapped here will also have some sort of what you call the pollutants, including some of the what you call the fertilizers which are there, ammonia and other things, and also the pesticides which will go into the system, or fish what you call fats. Most of the pesticides will go into and stored in the fish fats. And when you eat this type of fish with fat and other things, then it will be going into your system and you may get cancers, the stomach cancer, or, the gut cancer, or whatever it is. When you digest this type of fish fat, it will be releasing these pesticides, which will go into the system and slowly damage the tissues, leading to cancer. And you can see the water bodies are here, no doubt. It is being, these are filtered through the sand beds. This intake system is there, gallery is there, and it is being treated with the sand beds. Then supplied through the pipelines. You can see that municipality, after treatment and chlorination, will be supplying to us, to our houses. But we never bother what are the condition of the pipelines and how they are. I have taken some photographs. This is not created. This is being operational. You can see that the pipeline is bent here. This is when it is full. That is during the peak time, the water will be flowing and this pipeline is bent, and slowly after a few days, it will be pitted because these are all, iron pipes, and these are pitted, and the water will be going into the system. And when you take the water, it will be contaminated. And you don't know what is the quality of the water. So you have to get tested always the quality of the water. Okay, you may say that I am using the brown water, bore water. But in the recent past, we've seen that the bore wells also are getting contaminated because of the surface or underground discharges by the sewage or from the septic tanks, which are being letting this water into the system. If the soil is porous, automatically it will be joining the aquifer. And when you are taking the water and when you drink it, you will get different types of diseases. As a matter of fact, you can see the rivers which are there, which are coming on the upstream areas, the people, sorry, today I'm having some cold and this, you can see that the water is being contaminated by defecation. People may not be understanding. They feel that, okay, water is such a big resource and it can dilute it. But the dilution is not a factor. The downstream areas, people will be damaging, or they will be getting this type of dirty water in the future. And this is, I have taken it from Hyderabad, the Jawahar Nagar area. Jawahar Nagar area, the solid waste is once, slowly it will be deteriorating. We just dump the solid waste onto the earth, and earth gets spoiled. These are all in the Jawahar Nagar area. I have taken a 2011, and the leachate will be coming. When you are dumping some solid waste, slowly the degradation takes place, and the surface runoffs bring this leachate. And you can see the leachate will be joining. This is your Jawahar Nagar area of Hyderabad, where they burn this, and not only the dioxins are released because of they burn the solid waste, but when the rainfall comes, almost all this type of waste will be coming into the water body. This water body can be used safely, provided you protect it. Whereas the surface runoffs bring the leachates and also all the soluble, the soluble materials or metals into this and bring and waste this type of water. They make it into a dirty water. And sometimes in the mines, we feel that the granite mines and other things will not contaminate, but we are not sure of what is the water quality. Many of us ask the water to be used for different types of functions, like even agriculture. They pump this water and people use it. But will they test it? Most of the times the mine people, they will get the certificate from some of the laboratories that it's a good water. But you have to test it properly by an university or by a recognized laboratory for confirming the water quality before using. Because plants also can make use of this type of water. You can see here the solid waste, and you can see the type of water. We don't go into the details, but you use the water for different types of agriculture. May I just share something, some important aspect of your place that Hyderabad. One day, I think it has come in TV9. In TV9, they have shown Sabji Mandi in Secunderabad, and somebody is selling the spinach. Somebody is selling spinach, and somebody has complained that the day before they have taken the spinach and the curry has become dark black or something like that. So they came with the TV9 people. They asked that same lady who was selling the spinach and the palakora. Then the TV9 fellow asked her, okay, madam, you are growing this spinach. Where are you growing? Then she said, I am brought from Musi area. Where do you stay? I am from Musi. And he said, where in the Musi? Musi banks, I am cultivating this, and spinach is being grown on the Musi river bank. Then he said, what is the water you are using? Then he said, see, Musi river is there, no Musi. That water only we are using. And you see, then he asked, have you cooked this same vegetable? Ee palakora meer vandara ani adigaru. Ledu, chichi aa water toti penchina palakora nenu enduku tintanu? Nenu bazar lo ammutunna ante. So you can imagine the origin of this type of vegetables which are grown in this type of water. They are being sold in the open market. You go and buy, they are green and fresh, so you buy. but you never knew that all this type of vegetables also has got some contamination or other if they are using the contaminated water. If they are using good water, no doubt about it. So you should ensure yourself from where the people are getting this type of vegetables, fruits, or whatever it is, what is the water they are using before you consume. Then the water quality change, I think it is already 6:29, 6:30. So I'll go up to 6:45. Sir,
Please go ahead.
okay. And you can see that water is, I will quickly go through. So these are the mines which are, you can see they flow from surface runoffs, then percolation. What is the use of this type of constructions is, when the rain falls, instead of coming directly into the water, bringing the sediment, the water will percolate and recharge the groundwater. This is a very good so unsaturated and saturated aquifers will be there. So they will be saturated by providing such type of things. You can see the water, the cycle, how it goes on, and you can see that the plants will absorb this water and grow, and automatically some of the elements are discharged, discarded by the plants, but some of them who are soluble will go into the system. This is also another lake which is spoiled, having all the weeds. You can see the weeds will be an indication of eutrophication or spoil water condition. We know that most of the time we go for the sand mining in the rivers. What is the bad about the sand mining is, the sand acts as a sponge to slowly percolate the water, and the water is stored. Slowly it will be percolating and recharging the groundwater. But when you are mining the sand, automatically the water will be flowing very fast because there is no blockade of this water. I just showed you how to collect the water samples, but it's not necessary. But what we have to do is now go for the conservation. As a small body, Telangana Jana Vedika, as a body, we can take up some activities of conserving this water. How to conserve? Have a small bund, check dam. You can see the small check dam. If the water is coming, please put a check dam so that water can be stored. It's a small, blockade of this water so that it will be stored here and can be used somewhere else, or the sedimentation takes place. Almost all the suspended particles will go down and you can use the water. And you can use small ponds, construct small ponds which can act as an infiltration ponds. That is, you take a small area and put a pond so that where it will be lower levels. When the lower levels are there, water will be collected and it acts as a infiltration pond. From here, good water will go into the system or into the aquifer. So you have to see that small activities will make very good impact on the, most of the areas already have done this. So in Telangana, I think we can also try to adopt or try to put this type of small activities so that you can make use of the water that is flowing very into the river systems. We can stop those things and use it as recharges. Not only that, the recycling. Most of the Andhra Pradesh state governments also, the sewage treatments are not functional. Most of the time we depend on the septic tanks. We are around 80% of the water will come out of the houses as a sewage or a water which is spoiled. So the water can be used. In recent times, one of our chief ministers have gone to Singapore, and Singapore Prime Minister accompanied them to a treatment plant, and they offered one glass of water to the CM, to both the CMs, and both the CMs drank. Then the CM of Singapore told that our CM that, see, whatever water you have taken or drank now is nothing but sewage water, what is treated. See, our conscience will not agree to drink the water, sewage water. But in the world, we are facing the crisis for the water. So we have to change our attitudes of using the water which is treated and which is once again comes into the potable like. This is salt water. In the coastal areas, these things are going to be popular in future, wherein the seawater is turned into fresh water. You can see the seawater goes down when you add the salt, and fresh water will come onto the surface, where the salt water can be separated from the sweet water. We have done some experiments. I just shown you some experiments. We have even used solar stills. I will show you. And what we can do is, if the water is contaminated, you can use this type of home chlorinator. These are called home chlorinators, wherein a plastic jerry can be used for mixing sand and the bleaching powder. Bleaching powder and sand you can mix 50-50%. Put small stones and put only the small holes, and lower it in either in a well or a overhead tank. Very close to the discharge point. If it is discharges this way, I can show you. I'm showing you the arrow, my cursor. You can see here the discharge. Whenever it is being discharged, it is chlorinated. Water will be chlorinated, and the chlorination 0.2%, if it is there, it is free of many disease-causing organisms. So, well also, if you are layering 6 inches below this and you take the well water, automatically it will be chlorinated. This is being done, and people can earn money. If you are using this type of small gadgets, you can earn money. It was costing only 40 rupees, and 1 month, depending on the water quality, it will work for 1 month. And every 1 month, they change the sand and this thing, cleaned up, and put once again the new material. Automatically, it will be helped. And this is another experiment where the water can be treated. We have done certain experiments, and the water can be treated. This is solar still. You can use in the coastal areas also. We have used this, and here you can see the glass will be here, and you construct a what you call slanted glass here. You take it, you expose it to the water, whether it is sewage, whether it is groundwater, whether it is seawater. You will get good water, potable water through the collected water onto the glass. If you are collecting that water, it will be potable in nature. Sewage also can be treated, but in future, when the scarcity is high, then we can use in the coastal areas. The solar stills are available in Gujarat, and we can make use of this type of still. Water which is evaporated will come as this thing. So there is a collecting system here, which is collected, and for 6 hours of sunlight, you will be getting 1 liter of water. That is, you can see that 20 rupees of water can be taken without free of cost. You can get it from the sunlight. And we are only concerned with the water quality, which is we always tell about waterborne diseases, but there are another 4 or 5 kinds of that water washed diseases, where quantity of water is very less. You will get the diseases. Water contact diseases, body of water related, water related insect vectors. That is, almost all the insects will be growing in water, like mosquitoes and all these other types of winged things will be growing in the water, and they have a life cycle in the water. And if you are storing the water or stagnating the water, then you will be having this vector-borne diseases and water contact diseases. So that is, if you are having different types of materials like fluorides and all, you get the fluorosis, and then we have as already pointed out, there are conflicts of water because of increase in the population, because of the water flows through the different states. You have conflicts. You are using water, more water, less water. So this type of water wars are imminent in future. So water can be from rooftop, it can be sent, which is good quality of water. Rainfall will be the best water, and that water which is evaporated and gone into the clouds and coming, you can store it or send it into the aquifer to reach the aquifer for recharging the groundwater. And if you are having these hills and other things, you can have the contour system which will be flowing. This is the catchment area. and the water will be flowing, and the contours will be slowly, the water will percolate and recharge the groundwater. And I think I have to quickly go through this because time is very short.
Okay,
I'll
sir, we
just show
can
you.
go.
Pardon? Pardon, sir?
You
Hello?
can go ahead, sir.
Okay.
Sir, you can take your time.
Oh,
Please
okay.
take your time.
I'm just showing some, what you call, this is very well known. Don't drink water that is coming to you. You should first ensure the water is potable. How you are potable, whether if these conditions are there, almost you can use the water, and causes of rejection. If it is more in hardness, it causes different types of ailments. When hard water is taken, along with the tomato or along with the spinach, it will be causing stones in the kidney, like forming calcium orthophosphate crystals. Calcium orthophosphate crystals. Even tomato, if you are having hard water and eating spinach and tomato, or cabbage, some of these type of vegetables, then calcium, if it is high in that, calcium orthophosphate crystals will form in kidney and also bladder stones. So bladder stones and kidney stones are because of this. And chloride, if the chloride is high, then it will be salty and it will not be able to drink. It is not potable. And the pH, if it is pH is more than or less than here, the range is given, it will be causing the damage. So 7 to 8.5 pH is the best water to be taken. So, and your total plankton bacteria should be 0. It should be 0. So you can see coliform organisms are Escherichia coli. These are associated with disease-causing organisms. So if they are 0, then you can take. You can see even through water, you get some diseases. This is very common in case of Anantapur, Rayalaseema area and Rajasthan area. In India, we found that this type of Dracunculus medinensis, it is called Dracunculus medinensis, or serpent worm or dragon worm, which will be coming into your body through the water. If you are not filtering the water, if you are not boiling the water, these type of organisms which go into your body and come out of your body, there is no treatment so far. The only thing is you have to tie up to a small stick and extract that. It will take nearly 15 days to 2 months to come out totally the organism. If it is cut off there, then it will be sepsis will be there. You have to operate and take it out. Another important aspect here is we have done small survey wherein we can see that the houses when they are constructed, or even the flats they are constructed, the percentage of the area which is let out is very, very small. This is the constructed area. This is only vacant land. That is only this much of land is left out to the sky. That means only that much area can percolate the rainfall or whatever it is. And some areas it is more, and some areas where single houses are there, that will be more area is left for. Sorry, it is moving away. Okay. I'm just going back. Okay. Here, as I told you, the sewage and other things, we can use of microfiltration, reverse osmosis, and ultraviolet filtration, which you will get purified water. That means even the sewage, the treated sewage, if it passes through this technology, technical thing, it will be, disinfected water can turn into purified water. That means 80% of the water that is being let out into the surface areas, into the drains, can be treated, can be once again used. Whereas our mental blockade is there, where we say that we cannot use the sewage, we can't drink the sewage. But we have to now change, because the water is so scarce in future, and we have to make use of this treated water once again, because it takes at least 50 years to come back. The water cycling will be taking 50 years. And other important aspect here, one should see that the transmission of diseases is mainly through these 5 elements, and mostly the water. Air, the virus and other particles, soil, vectors, that is the mosquitoes and other things. Fomites are also very, very dangerous. Water is there, fomites. Fomites are non-living objects which carry the disease-causing organism. For instance, if you see a used note, the rupee note or 10 rupee note, you just put it in the water. Wait for 5 minutes to 10 minutes. You see that lot of sediment will come because that note is being used by many people. The bacteria is in the form of small, the micro bacteria, which will be attached to those and in the form of spores. When they come into the water, the bacteria will once again gain the life. So these type of fomites, even on the table, even on the pens, people put it very frequently. Those things into your mouth, automatically they will get the diseases. And what are the things that be helping in transmission of diseases? Unhygienic surroundings, improper personal hygiene, density of population. More population if they are there, that is in the jhopadis and in the urban areas we see a lot of settlements which are very concentrated settlements. In 1 square kilometer area, you will be finding around 10,000 people also. 1 square kilometer area, 1 lakh people also stay in like Mumbai. So those people will be spreading these type of diseases very fast. So market for supply. Now the water supply system has good market and people are now extracting the groundwater and selling them. We are exporting the water to various countries, and you can see people are earning money by using the water systems. And I think if you take care of the system or the resource, like a mother, if you are taking care of children, automatically the environment will be for us, and it will give us good type of system and ecology and environment. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I'm very happy that all of you are, I can come back for questions. I don't know whether this has given us small insight into the water system or not. I request that Jana Vedika, we can take up small activities which will be helping in conserving the water, and we can promote this type of system. We can go to the villages, find out if there are some systems we can change. We can tell them water, and the local authorities can also be apprised of this situation. Thank you very much. Namaskar.
Thank you, sir. Professor Ramakrishna Rao garu sumaruga.
Sir, sound is, I am unable to hear you, sir.
Yeah.
Muted.
Okay. Hello.
Sir, vinavatunda ippudu?
Still, sir, your voice is very feeble.
Very feeble.
Sir.
Very feeble and very low.
ఇప్పుడు వినబడుతుందా?
అప్పుడు వినబడుతుంది.
ఓకే సార్. ఓకే సార్, తెలంగాణ జనవేదిక సందర్భం నీరు నిత్య జీవితం అనేటువంటి అంశం పైన ప్రొఫెసర్ రామకృష్ణరావు గారు సుమారుగా 55 నిమిషాల సమయం పాటు వారు లోతైనటువంటి విశ్లేషణ చేశారు. ప్రధానంగా ముఖ్యంగా ఈ దేశంలో లేదా ప్రపంచం లోపల 2030 సంవత్సరం నాటికి నీటి కొరత ఏర్పడుతుంది అనేటువంటి విషయాన్ని చాలా స్పష్టంగా చెప్తూనే, ప్రధానంగా ఎందుకంటే ఉష్ణోగ్రతలు రోజు రోజుకి పెరిగిపోతున్నాయి కాబట్టి ఈ నీటి కొరత అనేటువంటిది రావడానికి అవకాశం ఉంటుందనే విషయాన్ని చాలా స్పష్టంగా చెప్తూనే, మానవ శరీరానికి అతి ముఖ్యమైనది నీరు అనేటువంటి విషయాన్ని చాలా స్పష్టంగా చెప్పుకుంటూనే, ప్రతిరోజు 2 నుండి 3 లీటర్లు నీరు అనేటువంటిది ప్రతిరోజు తాగాలి మనిషి కనీసం అనేటువంటి విషయాన్ని వారు చాలా స్పష్టంగా చెప్పారు. అదే విధంగా ప్రపంచ భూభాగం లోపల 98.5% ఉప్పు నీటితో కూడుకున్నటువంటిది కేవలం 2.5% మాత్రమే మంచినీటి కలిగి ఉన్నది అనేటువంటి విషయాన్ని చాలా స్పష్టంగా చెప్తూనే, 2070 సంవత్సరం నాటికి దేశంలో 1 గ్లాసు మాత్రమే ప్రతి మనిషికి డబ్బుతో కొనుక్కోవచ్చు అనేటువంటిది అబ్దుల్ కలాం గారు చెప్పారు అనేటువంటి విషయాన్ని కూడా చాలా స్పష్టంగా చెప్పారు. అదే విధంగా వారు ఇంకో ప్రధానమైనటువంటి విషయాన్ని చెప్తూనే, ఈ దేశంలో ఉండేటువంటి లేదా భారతదేశంలో ఉండేటువంటి ప్రజల లోపల 80% వ్యాధులు ఏవైతే జబ్బులు ఉన్నాయో 80% జబ్బులన్నీ కూడా నీటి ఉపయోగం వల్లనే, నీటి వాడకం వల్లనే వస్తుంది అనేటువంటి విషయాన్ని కూడా చాలా స్పష్టంగా చెప్పారు. ప్రస్తుతం మన దేశంలో 20 రూపాయలకు 1 లీటరు నీటి బాటిల్ని కొనుక్కుంటున్నాం. రాబో కాలం లోపల ఇంకా ఇది చాలా ఎక్కువ ఖరీదు కలిగి ఉంటుంది అనేటువంటి విషయాన్ని కూడా చాలా స్పష్టంగా చెప్పుకుంటూనే ఈ దేశం లోపల ఒక కేజీ వరి పండియాలంటే 2000 లీటర్ల నీరు అవసరం అవుతుందని, ఒక కేజీ గోధుమలు పండించాలంటే 600 లీటర్ల నీరు అవసరం అవుతుందని, ఒక కిలో మాంసం ఉత్పత్తికి 25,000 లీటర్ల నీరు అవసరం అవుతుందని, ఒక లీటరు పాలు ఉత్పత్తికి 400 లీటర్లు అవసరం అవుతుంది అనేటువంటి విషయాన్ని చాలా స్పష్టంగా తెలియజెప్తూనే, ఒక టన్ను స్టీల్ ఉత్పత్తికి 3 లక్షల లీటర్ల నీరు అవసరం అవుతుందని, ఆటోమొబైల్ కు 4,50,000 లీటర్ల నీరు అవసరం అవుతుందని, అదే విధంగా ఈ దేశం లోపల వ్యవసాయ రంగానికి 70% నీరు వాడుతున్నారని, ఇండస్ట్రీ పారిశ్రామిక రంగానికి 20% అని, డొమెస్టిక్ ఉపయోగానికి ఈ 10% నీరును వాడుతున్నారనేటువంటి విషయాన్ని చాలా స్పష్టంగా తెలియజెప్పారు. వారికి మా తెలంగాణ జనవేదిక తరఫున ప్రత్యేకమైనటువంటి ధన్యవాదాలు సార్. ఇప్పుడు ఎవరైనా మిత్రులు ఏమైనా ప్రశ్నలు కానీ సార్ని ఏమైనా డౌట్స్ ఉంటే అడగగలరా అని చెప్పేసి నేను కోరుతున్నాను. ప్లీజ్ ప్రొఫెసర్ సుధాకర్ గారు.
Sudhakar sir, you are muted. Please unmute yourself, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Jana Vedika and Professor Ramakrishna Garu, for an excellent discourse on water and its impact on human beings and other habitat. So, Professor has clearly explained about the causes and effects of contamination of water, not only in Indian context but also throughout the world. There are very many reasons for contamination of water. And being a person hailing from legal fraternity, before actually I would like to share a few of the points on legal control and water pollution. I would like to set upon the discourse of Professor Rao as to what are the causes. The causes of water pollution may be including groundwater pollution, pond water pollution, river water pollution, and even it may extend to the top of marine water pollution as such. And in all these water pollutions, there are successive attempts have been made to combat the adverse effect of water pollution and conserve water as a matter of life, so living source for not only human beings but also for all flora and fauna, and including that of non-human, non-living organism as well. So on this, there are many factors, including that of an agricultural operation as well. So we generally think that it's only industrial operation or the urbanization may be the major causes of water pollution. But additionally, the agricultural operations are also having a major contribution on this water pollution of all the resources. It's because of indiscriminate usage of fertilizers, pesticides, insecticides, and whatnot. So all these are actually coming into the, again, in the rooted to the task of human body. Now on this, I would like to share 2-3 enactments. It was, though we might have heard about Indian Penal Code, Bharatiya Shiksha Samhita. And way back in 1860 itself, the Indian Penal Code do contain the provisions for contamination of water and punishments are also prescribed. Where in 1860, assuming that nobody was thinking about the groundwater or water pollution and all that, because at a particular point of time, maybe around more than 180 years or so, the population is very scanty and there was no pollution at all. But in spite of this also, Macaulay would be able to think the future, that in future, suppose if contamination of water is going to happen, including that of the water reports are being poisoned, then what would have its own impact on the human beings and other habitats are taken into consideration and provided these provisions in the very fabric of the penal law. And of course, over a period of time, there was one more generally unuttered name is that Bombay Sure Nuisance Act was enacted in 1883. So this was happened to be first enactment basing upon addressing the water contamination. So never it was so seriously because all these urban cities were not so much developed in 1857 itself, but only Bombay and Kolba was the area where a lot of this beach area was being contaminated because of indiscriminate disposal of everything and all that. And then that was the first enactment to combat water pollution. And of course, then we came one most important enactment in 1974, which is Water Prevention of Pollution Act. And if that it's the act says that you cannot prevent pollution, It's not only water, but environment, anything you cannot pollute. And pollution and development is side by side. There is going to be pollution and there is going to be combating or reducing of pollution. So therefore, the Water Pollution Act 1974 doesn't prevent water pollution, but it tries to arrest and keep the water standards in a manageable manner. And if you are again going to indiscriminately using, there is going to be imposing of cess. And 2003, there is an enactment came for imposition of cess. And this Water Act is a very enormous, very bigger act. It controls almost all activities, like your drainage water, municipal habitation, or including that of marine water as such, which is coming in the purview of economic zone of this particular country. And these acts are being, one can say, the scrupulously being followed, at least in the recent times. It's because on this water, there are many agitations which have come up. There are Andolan, that Narmada Bachao Andolan, TN Godavarman cases on Supreme Court of India, MC Mehta case, Sardar Sarovar Narmada Nigam Limited, and the recent catchword is Namami Ganga. So all these are being put into effort, but on so far as the purification of Ganga is concerned, Professor can able to appreciate how much amount of hundreds and thousands of crores are being drained into this system, but still Ganga is no more a pure Ganga. You can not think of taking a whole dip into it, but because once you dip it and you are contacted with a kind of contractual disease, a kind of diseases which requires treatment for a long time. And on this, another point I would like to add and close up, water is a fundamental right. So living is now, we have got an important article in Constitution, Article 21. Article 21 here talks about the right to life. And the Supreme Court in the recent times have enacted, enlarged the scope of right to life in such a manner that right to life is not simple mere living as a mere living creature, but right to life includes many, many things that are honorable living, comfortable environment, clean air, clean water, and whatnot. So all these have been taken into consideration, and today the apex court of this country is vigilant enough that whenever there is going to be water contamination or the point any environmental contamination, the judiciary is not going to be a silent spectator, but is always trying to combat and reduce these kind of various kinds of environmental impact of the pollutions to a manageable level. Because many a times in our class we say that pollution and development cannot go in hand. Pollution is going to be there definitely, and environmental protection is also there, because your industrialization is coupled with that type of pollution. As the professor was telling that this much lakhs of water is required for manufacturing of a unit of motor automobile. So but that is required and this is required. So therefore there is a kind of which in recent times has developed is sustainable development. A sustainable development is nothing but accepting a kind of pollution to some extent by way of treating and making the human environment livable, not only for Homo sapiens or the human beings, but also all the other inferior things that are flora and fauna have got a same and equivalent right with that of human being to live on this globe, because this is the only one globe which is available. And now that the earth globe, the mother globe, has simply reduced that of a baby globe. And if you are going to indiscriminately contaminate these resources, various resources, maybe groundwater or air pollution and everything, then there is no other planet for us to escape and live there. So therefore, it is essential for us to live in this case. So thank you very much, Professor, for giving a very excellent discourse on scientific matters.
Thank you, Sudhakar. Thank you, Sudhakar Garu. One small comment on this. Definitely, the laws are made, but we Indians, we know how to hoodwink the law. For instance, the zero discharge, zero level liquid discharge, ZLD, is a condition that is given by the environment. That is, you should not discharge any water outside. What the people will do is, they will be going deep into the layers with a borewell. They discharge this type of water, untreated water, also into the aquifer. Because whenever we go for inspection, when we go there, we see that the water is not discharged. Okay, but the water coming out will be left into through the bore wells, deep bore wells, and it is contaminating the groundwater. So many industries are like that. So there are ways and means by which we can hoodwink this law. There are several laws. India has got better laws than any of this world, but still the monitoring system is very, very poor. That's the reason, sir. Thank you.
One thing I would like to add, sir. There are going to be every industry which is a polluting industry supposed to maintain the water, the treatment plants. And there is also provision for common treatment plant to be organized, to be promoted by the government. So treatment plants, if they are not maintaining in a proper manner, your law will come and prosecute them and impose penalty. Apart from that, but whereas in case of a common treatment plants, which is responsible by the government, I think you might have studied also.
Yeah,
many
farmers,
common treatment plants are not
Yeah,
working.
yeah, no,
Due to
we
various
have.
reasons, whom we are
But
going to blame?
failure.
So the thing
Yeah,
is,
failure.
it is only the state failure. If the state is concerned about and implements the responsibility through, then the thing should have been different. The state itself is erring, then where is the morality on part of state to impose conditions on this? So this is going to be like this. Let us hope in the future, in the near future, maybe some kind of sea changes will come, because the Supreme Court is not so silent today on each and everything. I was telling about city and Godawaran case.
Yeah,
We
NGT,
could
NGT
able to
also.
get more than 500
Yes, sir.
500 orders from the Supreme Court on
Yeah, I
each
know.
and everything, right, top to bottom of this country. So that is the thing. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Very good.
Sir, Vijay Prakash, sir.
No, Vijay Prakash sir helparu.
Vijay Prakash.
No, Vijay Prakash sir helparu.
Swati Mishra.
Swati is an environmentalist and she's a hardcore environmentalist. I would like to ask her questions and speak also. Thank you.
Swati Mishra.
Good evening, sir. Sir, thank
Good
you
evening.
for shedding light on the various sources of water pollution and the various aspects of water. We even discussed about the soil pollution and how the leaches, they penetrate into the groundwater and they dishevel the soil as well. So, you know, in India, mostly we see the big, large landfills filled with the toxic materials. And it's like, even we do not have proper treatment methods for it or proper landfills. But even when we treat them, there is a release of toxic dioxins, aldehydes, and methane, which is even more destructive than carbon dioxide. So which should be the proper landfill method to be adopted? And is open tunnel composting an expensive treatment method for a country like India?
Okay. Thank you. You are talking about the solid waste, what you call disposal and management.
Yes, sir.
And you know, as you all know, that the composition of the solid waste in Indian conditions, it is around 40% is organic and 30% is inorganic, and the rest of it is inert. So what the people have now lived up, and also some of them are hazardous waste and some of them are hospital and you know, hazardous wastes are there. So now the governments have taken up various activities on how to dispose of these things have come in line, and hospital wastes are being collected and disposed of as per the 2016 solid waste management rules. 2016 solid waste management rules, they are segregating and disposing of. Only one small aspect here, I have shown you some photographs of the solid waste, which is actually in your Jawahar Nagar of Hyderabad, so close to Secunderabad area. The solid waste is being dumped for years and years under the surface of the land. So degradation of the soil already there, leachates will come out. So first of all, the organic waste that is allowed 40% has to be segregated. That's the reason we have that green and red, I don't know, 2-bin system, whether it is implemented in Hyderabad or not. In our areas, it is being implemented. That is, you collect, you segregate, because it's very difficult to segregate there. You give the organic waste, or you can do the organic waste in your house itself. If you have small land, you can change that organic waste into a organic manure within 40 days, within 35 to 40 days, you can change it. Even using some of the earthworms or, you know, or only the compost, for making a compost. But most of us have no time to do that, and we just dispose it off. And the municipal corporations are taking up to transfer that into organic waste. And some of the companies are also like Coromandel and all, they are mixing this organic waste into the what do you call their pesticides, no, not pesticides, the fertilizers, and 20% of it they are mixing it and selling it. And that is the reason now it is being a small process, but already in the Western countries they are doing it. But in Indian conditions, we have to make use of this type of what you call sunlight and other things which are available to us to transform this organic waste into an organic manure, which will be useful. And probably you must be seeing yesterday or day before, I saw in the papers also, the farmers are now resorting to organic farming rather than the fertilizer, artificial or chemical fertilizer using, because the soil is completely getting spoiled because of the use of the urea and other types of fertilizers. So now they are turning around to use the organic waste, and they are collecting the waste that is there in the rural areas. They are doing. So government has to promote this type of activities, which is very much needed for us. So I don't know, Swati Mishra ji, whether I answered your point or not. You can.
Yes, so actually I just wanted to know like which type of sheets or like which type of treatment is more favorable in terms of solid waste management in Indian scenarios, because the level of humidities in most of the regions is higher, and so is the percolation of the leaches into the groundwater.
Yes.
And so my second question was about the effluent treatment plant, like you mentioned, we do not always have zero discharge waste. And it's like once in a blue moon process that happens in most of the regions. So, and they're directly disposed into the water. And some of the ETP, they are linked up with multi-effective evaporator. So is it that efficient compared to a standalone STP or an ETP?
So, I didn't follow the last sentence, please repeat.
So linking of like ETP or STP with a multi-effective evaporator plant is more effective to achieve zero waste discharge.
No, madam, I don't know whether you have gone to the field or not, but I know the pharmaceutical companies have got this ETP in Hyderabad also. But the pharmaceutical companies, also depend on the type of discharges they have. Different pharmaceuticals will be having different type of discharges. So they bring it together, they reduce this, what you call suspended, dissolved solids in that, and the suspended solids they separate, then take the water. And the MDS system is also there. That is mechanical dispenser system, which will be, sending the vapors into the surface or into the air, and MDS system. Then we have this type of ETPs are not working properly because of chemical interactions or interfaces. So people are not taking into account what is existing there, because they change the products time to time. When the demand comes, they change the product, and the ETPs are not working on a particular discharge. So here the system is not what you call conducive in the nature. ETPs, we have set up that CEP, that common effluent treatment plants. Many times you see that the companies will be taking this type of water also in tankers and discharge somewhere else. So the important aspect here is when we put the condition like zero liquid discharge, ZLD, in the conditions of environmental clearance, what we observe is the industries are unable to execute that or implement that, and they are finding out the ways and means by which they can hoodwink this type of law or this type of condition. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Another Professor CHS.
Subramaniam garu. Subramaniam sir.
Subramaniam, sir. Professor CHS.
Subramaniam sir, are you there, sir?
Subramaniam, sir.
Think many people have left, I think, probably.
Yeah. Okay. Ashok Babu garu.
Yeah, Pelli Ashok Babu garu.
సార్ నమస్కారం సార్, చాలా మంచి టాపిక్. ఇప్పుడు లోకల్ లెవెల్లో మనము ఇప్పుడు చాలా ఎడ్యుకేట్ చేయాల్సిన పరిస్థితి అయితే ఉంది. సార్ చెప్పినట్టు అంటే కమ్యూనిటీ సర్వీస్ లో ఎవరైతే పార్టిసిపేట్ చేస్తున్నారో వాళ్ళకు సార్ లాంటి మేధావులతోటి ఒక ట్రైనింగ్ ప్రోగ్రామ్ కనుక పెడితే కింద కమ్యూనిటీ పీపుల్ కు మంచి ఇష్యూస్ మీద ఫోకస్ చేసినట్టు అవుతుంది, ఎన్విరాన్మెంట్ కూడా బాగుంటుందని ఈ సందర్భంగా తెలియజేస్తూ నేను చాట్ బాక్స్ లో పెట్టిన నా కామెంట్. థ్యాంక్ యూ వెరీ మచ్ సార్.
Thank you.
బాబు గారు ఇప్పుడు మండల శ్రీరామ్, మండల పరశురామ్.
పరశురామ్ ఉన్నాడా?
ఉన్నాడు. మండల పరశురామ్.
Parshram, are you there? Yeah. Okay.
Unmute yourself.
Parshram.
హలో.
Yeah, Parshram.
Parshram, go ahead.
సార్ వినపడుతుంది సార్?
మాట్లాడు పరశురామ్.
సార్ ఒక క్వశ్చన్ సార్. హలో.
చెప్పండి సార్, చెప్పండి, మీ మాట వినబడుతుంది.
మళ్ళా మ్యూట్ అయ్యండు. Parshram, unmute yourself. Parshram is an NGO doing a lot of human service in Warangal.
ఇస్తా ఉంది గవర్నమెంట్.
Yeah. Parshram, go ahead. Go ahead.
ఆడిబుల్ సార్?
Yes.
అడుగులు.
సో దానికి మీరు ఏమంటారు సార్? అంటే ప్రజలు చాలా పర్మిషన్ తీసుకుంటున్నారు, ప్లాన్ లో చూపిస్తున్నారు, కానీ
లేదు, మీ
పెట్టడం లేదు.
మీరు క్వశ్చన్
చాలా ప్రమాదకరమైనటువంటి పరిస్థితి ఉంది కాబట్టి రెయిన్ వాటర్ హార్వెస్టింగ్ పిట్ అనేది చాలా కంపల్సరీ అని యాక్ట్ చెప్తుంది. కానీ క్లియర్ మానిటరింగ్ బై ది మున్సిపల్ కార్పొరేషన్స్ అండ్ లోకల్ బాడీస్.
Parshram,
For
can you
that,
please?
what you are suggest for that?
Parshram, can you please ask your question again? Hello, Parshram.
పరశురామ్ గారు, మీరు క్వశ్చన్ అడిగినప్పుడు మీ మాట వినపడలేదు. మీరు మళ్ళీ క్వశ్చన్ చెప్పగలరా?
ఎస్ సార్. ఇప్పుడు మనకు రెయిన్ వాటర్ హార్వెస్టింగ్ పిట్ అనేది కంపల్సరీ బిల్డింగ్ పర్మిషన్ లో చూపిస్తున్నారు ప్లాన్ లో.
ఓకే.
యాక్ట్ కూడా ఉంది కంపల్సరీ పెట్టాలని. అంటే మనం యాక్చువల్ గా మాట్లాడుతున్నప్పుడు వాటర్ ఈజ్ ప్రీషియస్, వి షుడ్ నాట్ వేస్ట్ ఎనీ రెయిన్ వాటర్ హార్వెస్టింగ్. సో ఫర్ దట్ ఎవ్రీ బిల్డింగ్ పర్మిషన్ ఇస్ they are giving in the plan, but they are not constructing the rainwater pit in their houses or apartments. So for that act is there, but nobody is monitoring. So what you are going to give suggestion?
ఓకే సార్, పెట్టేది మేమే. ఎందుకంటే ఈఏసి ఎన్వైరన్మెంటల్ అప్రైజల్ కమిటీ కింద ఉన్నప్పుడు కూడా మనం సజెస్ట్ చేస్తాం, ఇలా పెట్టాలి, ఇది చేయాలి, అది చేయాలని. మరి మున్సిపల్ కార్పొరేషన్ కూడా వాళ్ళు క్లియర్ చేస్తున్నప్పుడు, ఏదైతే మనం ఇవి ఉన్నాయో ప్రపోజల్స్ ఉన్నాయో అవి క్లియర్ చేస్తున్నప్పుడు పిట్ చూపించలేదా చూస్తారు. అంతవరకు వాళ్ళు పనిచేస్తారు. చేయాల్సింది మనమే అనేది ప్రజల్లో రావాలి ఆ చైతన్యం. మనం చేసింది కరెక్ట్ గా ఉందా లేదా అనేది రావాలి. వాడేంటి ఒక గేవ్ తవ్వేస్తాడు, అసలు అందులో పర్క్యులేట్ అవుతుందో లేదా. నేను అందుకనే మీకు ఇందాక చూపించాను ఒక స్లైడ్. అంటే వేరియస్ ఏరియాస్ లో ఆ సాయిల్ పర్క్యులేషన్ రేట్స్ అంటారు. ఆ సాయిల్ పర్క్యులేషన్ రేట్స్ క్యాలిక్యులేట్ చేయకుండా, ఇప్పుడు హైదరాబాద్ ఏరియాలో కొండ ఉంటుంది, కొండ దగ్గర మీరు రెయిన్ వాటర్ పిట్ అంటే ఓన్లీ పైన చిన్న గొయ్యి తవ్వుతాడు అంతేగాని కిందకి వాటర్ వెళ్ళే అవకాశం ఉండదు. ఎందుకంటే రాయి ఉంటుంది కాబట్టి, రాక్ సర్ఫేస్ ఉంటుంది. అక్కడ ఏంటంటే రెయిన్ వాటర్ హార్వెస్టింగ్ చేయాలి, రెయిన్ వాటర్ రీఛార్జ్ చేయడానికి అవకాశం లేదు. సో ఎవరు ఇవన్నీ పట్టించుకోరు. మనము ఏంటంటే రెయిన్ వాటర్ పెట్టారు, ఒక పైప్ పెట్టాడు, శాండ్ వేసాడంటే వేసాడు అంతే తప్ప, అది కొన్నాళ్ళకి పైన అంతా కూడా కవర్ అయిపోయి వాటర్ కూడా వెళ్ళే పరిస్థితి కూడా ఉండదు అక్కడ. సో మీరు అన్నది బాగుంది. వాటర్ మానిటరింగ్ అనేది మనం ఎలా చేయాలంటే ఇండివిజువల్ గా ఆ ఎవరైతే ఉన్నారో వాళ్ళు కూడా చూసుకోవాల్సిన పరిస్థితి. ఎందుకంటే మనం ఎన్వైరన్మెంట్ కోసం చేస్తున్నాం అనేది కాదు, వాడు చెప్పాడు కాబట్టి మున్సిపల్ కార్పొరేషన్ వాళ్ళు పెట్టమన్నారు కాబట్టి పెట్టాం, అంతే తప్ప మనకి అవగాహన లేక ఇది చేస్తే మనందరికీ బాగుంటుంది, ఫ్యూచర్ పిల్లలకు కూడా బాగుంటుంది అనే ఒక అభిప్రాయం లేక వీళ్ళందరూ ఇలా చేస్తున్నప్పుడు మనం మానిటరింగ్ అంటే మనం యాజ్ అన్ ఎన్జిఓ కానీ మనం కానీ, నేను పర్సనల్ గా వెళ్ళినా సరే ఎవడు రాడు, పోపవే నీకెందుకు అంటాడు, మనల్ని రానివాడు కూడా ఇంట్లోకి. అసలు పిట్టు చూపించవే అంటే నీకెందుకు అయ్యా అంటాడు, పోవే అంటాడు, నా దాంట్లో ఉంది పర్మిషన్ ఉంది అంటాడు. సో మనం చేయలేని పరిస్థితి ఇది. ఇండివిజువల్ గా రావాలి, అది ఒక రెవల్యూషన్ రావాలి, లేకపోతే ఒక అండర్స్టాండింగ్ రావాలి మనిషికి, ఇప్పుడే మనం చేయగలం.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, thank you.
Thanks.
Sir, I have a question.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. No.
Question number. జాగ్రత్తగా.
జాగ్రత్త ఏం అవసరం లేదు కానీ there's one thing. You said that each kg of rice produced will take about 2,000 liters of water.
Yeah.
In the light of the rapid urbanization by different governments, it's become a policy of the government that urbanization is the only way you can do development in this country. But what of rice being a staple food, what about the food security that's going to affect this country? Number one. Number two, there is no proper agricultural policy in this country. You being an environmentalist, how are you going to guide the government? You have been an advisor to the government, undersecretary and all these things. Can you put light on this, sir, please?
The second point, sir. Just
see, there is no proper agricultural policy for any Indian government. Or see, alternative. Right. When water is being wasted, water is being conserved, you have to conserve water. Then you have to have an alternative plan, isn't it?
Right. Okay, I understood that. First question is food security, you said.
Yes, sir.
Sir, if you, I don't know, if time permits, you can go through the YouTube and see the movie called the Soylent Green. Soylent Green. S-O-Y, Soylent Green.
Okay.
That is, I've seen it as a futuristic movie. It's a futuristic movie. Like you have the virus, about our, what you call COVID virus. The already movie has come from 10 years back. So like this, for futuristic, this thing, Soylent Green was the movie. I have seen it long back, maybe 20 years back, 15-20 years back. It says that by 2100, that is 2100, it is going to be completely, now already the artificial food is 20% to 30%. That is, whatever vitamins and other things we are taking, it's an artificial food. Okay, now in 2100, totally the food will be not there. It will be very difficult for food to get, because water is not there, because other conditions are not there, food may not be growing. So now the energy is required. We require around 1800 kilocalories per day for our functioning. System has to work. We require some food or some energy. So energy will be coming into 80 to 90% artificial. You may ask me how is artificial food also may come. It is said that, that movie, I'm just mentioning that movie, futuristic movie. What he says is, we have highest energy in our bodies. Right now, what we are doing is, we are burning it or we are wasting that. So in future, I'm not, this is only a conceptual thing. Please do not take it into a very large this thing. Conceptually, it is said that because our body is having high energy system, now the days will come when the body will be what you call recycled, and the energy system is, the energies are taken or the elements are taken from it, and they manufacture green capsules. That is, which will be, one capsule will be equivalent to 1800 kilocalories of energy. So you have the capsule and you will survive. This is only a conceptual thing. I'm just, and as you are saying, food security, we require at least some land to be dedicated for agriculture system, definitely. But what global warming is telling us, or IPCC is warning us, is the water will be reduced, or sometimes water will be heavy, or the cloud burst will be there and floods will be there. So even if you are going for agriculture in future, unless until it is restricted to certain areas which are in safe zone. For instance, in what Japan is doing is now vertical, rice is grown in a vertical this thing. Just like we have the multi-storage structure, the agriculture system is vertical. They are using the water, they are providing the artificial sunlight, and they are growing. Because land is very scarce for them. So systems will come, technology will come in future to provide, what we require is carbohydrates, proteins, and, fat. So these things are to be produced artificially, given to you in turn of this type of foods. Because you are saying rice is staple food, no doubt about it. But when the water is scarce, the water is not available, it may not be growing. So you have to develop certain system by which you have this 1800 kilocalories of energy per day to you. And agricultural policy right now, we are seeing that the governments have no proper agricultural policy. But definitely we should take care of the farmers, because they are the people who are struggling out, and they are people who are giving food. They are just like gods to us as far as today is concerned. In future, the rice may not be there, farmers may not exist also, because when you are changing your policies of industrialization to the farming agriculture, because even IPCC says that because of this farming, we are producing high amounts of methane and other things discharging into the into the air and causing the global warming. And we are slowly reducing. China is next to us, the highest farming land is there. Thailand is there. But what Thailand and other things are doing is they are also having polycrops. That is food and other things also there. Some rice, some food and fruits and other things. So they are dividing the land into certain areas and going for the food that is required by them. So we have to also have a policy of guiding the farmers to have which type of crop. Already it is there, because based on the soil conditions, already government has taken up. But we have to also see whether producing rice in kilos and kilos, tons is not a answer, because you are once again you are reducing the resource of water there, as I told you. So we have to have a concrete policy which will be useful for us in future, which will provide the energy that is required for us. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Vachin, mala vampista.
Sir, thank you, sir. Thank
Hello,
you.
sir. You have given a very
Manoj,
scary picture. Artificial intelligence, artificial food, no employment. What would be the future of humankind?
Because we are not taking care of us, sir. We are not taking the care of environment. Once you take care, that's what I showed you. If you take care of the environment, automatically it will take care of you. If you are not taking care, already irreparable situation has come.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Uma Maheshwari raised his hand. I think he has a question.
Sir, good evening. Sir, good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Sir, good evening, sir. Sir, TJV అధ్యక్షులు గారికి నమస్కారం. TJV అధ్యక్షులు రామన్న గారికి నమస్కరిస్తాను. సార్, ఇవాళ మీరు చెప్పిన చాలా మంచి పాయింట్స్ ఉన్నాయి సార్. వాటర్ బాడీస్ గురించి, వాటి నెసెసిటీ కదా సార్. ఇక్కడ ఒక చిన్న సబ్మిషన్ సార్. హైదరాబాద్ లో ఇండస్ట్రియల్ వేస్ట్ వాటర్ కూడా ఉంటుంది సార్, సివరేజ్ వేస్ట్ వాటర్ ఉంటుంది సార్, అంతా ట్యాంక్ బండ్లకు వస్తుంది సార్. ఒక పాస్ట్ 15 years నుంచి మా రామనగర్కి అధ్యక్షులకి తెలిసిందే, అక్కడ సివరేజ్ ప్లాంట్ అని పెట్టి బుద్ధ పూర్ణిమ ప్రాజెక్ట్ కింద క్లీనింగ్ చేస్తారు సార్. కానీ ఈవేళ దాకా వాటర్ క్లీన్ అయితే ఏం లేదు. నా రిక్వెస్ట్ ఏంటంటే రామనగర్ ప్రభుత్వంలో కొద్దిగా చొరవ తీసుకొని సార్ అండ్ ప్రొఫెసర్స్ అక్కడ ఇన్ఛార్జ్ చేస్తే ఏమన్నా అవ్వచ్చు, మంచిగా అవుతుందని చిన్న రిక్వెస్ట్. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Last one, Manoj Reddy here. Manoj Reddy here. Yeah, please.
Sir, very good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Thank you for giving us the time, sir, for your valuable time today. And really, water, if we save the water, water saves us, sir. Nothing big than that. because it is the most important element which God gave us among 5, and we should save it, and it will save us in our critical times. Of course, our 90% of our body is filled with water, sir. So it's our responsibility to take care of it and to get rid of all the future havocs and everything. It's our responsibility to save for the future generations. We have to save it. As just now, my friend, as Umameshwari said, the same question that what about the water, sir, that collecting from sewerage and all that? Please, if you clarify us, we'll be very happy, sir, for that. Thank you so much.
Okay, sir. As I told you, in both the states, even Andhra, Telangana, the sewage treatment plants are not at all in the required quantities. You know, as I told you, 80% of the water will come out from all the houses. Now everything is discharged into the drains. Drains are joining the river. I have shown you that also. Some
Yes,
ponds
yes.
also I have shown
Yes,
you,
yes.
which are already contaminated. So what we have to do here is whether we are treating the adequate quantities or not, number one, whether the treatment plant is adequate to treat that much of water or not, because here, whatever we are treating, it depends upon the biological treatment. That is bacteria, aeration, all these things have to be adequate. If they are not adequate, the BOD, that is biochemical oxygen demand, that is responsible for this type of contamination, will be more. Once it is more, organic contamination will be there. Automatically, whatever water they are discharging into, whether it is a what you call your tank bund or Musi or whatever what you call water system is there, they will be getting contaminated. So before discharge, we should see that the water is of at least in the permissible limit. But where the industries, other types of sewage, whatever it is coming, no treatment is being done anywhere. Okay, even if the treatment is done, it is not adequate. So you have to test, we have to go find out. Of course, the results will be almost will be what you call in favor of the industries. The results of the water, if you are doing in some laboratory, it will be in favor of the municipal corporation. Municipal corporation says, okay, we are treating and discharging it. But whether within the within the limits, prescribed limits or standards or not, అనేది ఒక పెద్ద క్వశ్చన్. అది ఇండివిజువల్ గా మనం చేయగలిగితే, కొన్ని టెస్టులు చేయగలిగితే కిట్స్ ఉంటాయి. సో ఏదైనా ఒక మన ఆర్గనైజేషన్ లో ఫార్మ్ అయ్యి దానికి ఒక డొనేషన్ తీసుకొని కిట్స్ కొని పిల్లలతోటి, స్టూడెంట్స్ తోటి చేయించగలిగితే బాగుంటుంది. అంటే ఐ డోంట్ నో వెదర్ సమ్ స్టూడెంట్స్ ఆర్ ఆల్సో ఇన్వాల్వ్డ్ ఇన్ దిస్ ఆర్ నాట్, బట్ మేము ఇక్కడ చేయించేవాళ్ళం వాళ్ళకి. అదే చెప్పాను ఇందాక, ట్రీట్మెంట్ చిన్న హోమ్ క్లోరినేటర్స్ అవి మేము ఇక్కడ ఇళ్లలో పెట్టి కనీసం 2,000 రూపాయలు వచ్చేది ఒక స్టూడెంట్స్, ఎంటెక్ స్టూడెంట్స్ కి అవి ఇచ్చి ఎక్కడైతే వాటర్ క్వాలిటీ బాగలేదో అక్కడ పెట్టించేవాళ్ళు. పెట్టిస్తే చక్కగా వాళ్ళు వాటర్ యూజ్ చేసుకున్నారు. 1 month, 2 months, 1.5 months, బికాస్ డిపెండ్స్ అపాన్ ది వాటర్ క్వాలిటీ. 1.5 months తర్వాత వెళ్ళి మళ్ళీ అది మార్చేవారు. అలాగా వాళ్ళకి ఒక 10 ఇళ్ళు చూసుకుంటే 200 రూపాయలు చొప్పున 2,000 రూపాయలు వచ్చేది చూస్తున్నప్పుడు కూడా. అంటే చిన్న చిన్న సిస్టమ్స్ ఉన్నాయి. మనం ఆ చిన్న సిస్టమ్స్, ఇదేంటి చిన్న సిస్టమ్స్, మనం ఇండివిజువల్ గా ఎందుకు చేసుకోవాలి, మనం ఎందుకు ఖర్చు పెట్టుకోవాలి అనుకునే వాళ్ళు కూడా ఉంటారు. సో వాళ్ళని మనం మనసు మార్చి వాళ్ళకి ఎడ్యుకేట్ చేసి మనం ఈ సిస్టమ్స్ ని ఇంట్రడ్యూస్ చేసినట్టయితే ఆటోమేటిక్ గా వాళ్ళ సేఫ్టీ ఉంటుంది, వాళ్ళ హెల్త్ సేఫ్టీ ఎక్కువ ఉంటుంది. లేకపోతే వాళ్ళు అలాగే వాటర్ తాగుతారు. మున్సిపల్ కార్పొరేషన్ నేను చూపించాను కదా, మున్సిపల్ కార్పొరేషన్ కూడా వాళ్ళ వాటర్ కూడా వెన్ దే ఆర్ సెండింగ్ టు ది పైప్ లైన్స్ విచ్ ఆర్ స్పాయిల్డ్ పైప్ లైన్స్ ఆర్ రాదర్ విచ్ ఆర్ పిటెడ్ పైప్ లైన్స్, ఆటోమేటిక్ గా మనకు వచ్చే వాటర్ కూడా క్వాలిటీ విల్ బి నాట్ గుడ్. సో అక్కడ టెస్ట్ చేసుకునే అవకాశం ఉంటుంది. చేసుకున్నట్టయితే సరిపోతుంది. సుయేజ్ అక్కర్లే, ఈవెన్ ట్రీటెడ్ వాటర్ కూడా మనకి సమ్ టైమ్స్ ఇట్ విల్ బి కంటామినేటెడ్. మొన్న చూసాం మీరు అక్కడ హైదరాబాద్ లోనే, ఎక్కడ మన ముషీరాబాద్ ఎక్కడో ఆ ఏరియాలో కంటామినేషన్ వచ్చి చాలా ఒక 30 మంది 40 మంది హాస్పిటలైజ్ అయ్యారు. ఓకే సార్.
James, you want to have something? Yeah, good.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Professor. It was a brilliant presentation, very informative, and also very terrifying.
it was quite alarming, actually. And sir, I would like to know. I'm curious to know that you have been at the topmost positions of academia in the country. You've also been in the have held positions of important positions in the government. How do regional political parties, look at these issues relating to environment, climate change, utilization of, especially of water? How do regional political parties look at these issues, sir? Have they give them any, do they give any discussion to it at all?
So thank you very much. It is a very, tricky question. Because most of the times when you are in government services and other things, you will not interact with any of this type of party leaders, because the people, they come for certain types of vested interests. So if you are trying to engage them, we will not be able to do our duties, definitely discharge our duties. So most of the times the parties who are there, leaders are there, if they are genuine, we will be able to see. For instance, I will just give you a small incident. Some of the things, experiences in me. You see, one person came from Gujarat, I think, Gujarat. He was mentioning that, see, we are importing oil, give us permission. I said, what is that oil? You see, people will not go deep. He is coming from a political party. He wants permission to import the oil. He says environmental, you give a certificate that it is no objection certificate to import the oil. I said, okay, what is this oil? I just asked the first question. He said, why do you worry about all these things? You give an NOC so that we'll import the oil. Then I said, unless until you tell us what kind of oil is there and how it is going to impact us and what are the environmental degradations that may take place. If oil, oil can be anything. Then he started giving the details. He says that used oils in engines and other things, he wants to import it and discharge into the sea. Yeah, that was, I'm talking to you in 1995. 1995. So when I was in the ministry. So then we were worried. What is this? The oil was, so other countries, they want to send us the oil and dispose of into our seas, or because we have the long coastline of around 7,000 kilometers of area, and he said we can import like that. Then he said, no, this is we are coming from a party. Your ministry is there. I will go about a lot of blah blah was there. I said nothing doing. We can't give you unless until you show us that what you are going to do, what is the process you are going to do, what are the outcomes you are going to come out, what are the byproducts that are going to come out, and how to discharge. All these things he says you are then that next step would be that how much you want. I said, what is this? See, people are there. How much you want for giving the NOC? He said, see, we are not going against anything about the environment. Sorry for that. Then, he went away. And he tried to bring higher ups. I said, okay, you want to give it, you give it. I will not, in the file, I will not write. You do it directly. So sometimes the decisions are taken at the top. You understand? Sometimes the decisions are taken at the top. Like the tires were imported. Now we are not importing. It is going to the South African countries. Batteries, used batteries. Delhi used to have that problem of, used batteries, lead and other things. They used to, what is there? They say that, what is there? The shells and other things we can dispose of. We can use the lead and see what is the health deterioration of those people who are working with those batteries. So all this, unless until you have the knowledge, knowledge, people who are sitting in the head of affairs have no knowledge. As you are saying, the political, whatever people are there, they should be educated first.
That's what we have been doing.
And the educated people should be given opportunity to work as ministers of these things. Then the people will take care of them. And people will come with certain what you call intentions, certain types of vested interests. I mean, I don't deny, I don't blame any party, but there are some people. You know what would be the what conditions in Bihar earlier, and what are the different types of things that are happening. And somebody mentioned about the Ganga. You see, that Ganga project, when we were there. But we were telling that the sewage treatment plants should be properly situated. They spent crores of rupees, but now they are all defunct. They're not working. That's why now once again it has come to the same Ganga action plan as they have rejuvenated that. So whether it will be good or bad, that decision has to go only after discussions. Here, I am sorry to say, I don't know whether some IAS officers are here in the group or not, but definitely the decision will be by one person without any discussions. Who is on the top brass? When you put up the note file and other things, because we are all not the decision makers, we are only suggestion makers. We are advisors and all, we will give suggestion, but the decision will be taken by some top brass, IAS officers.
The secretary.
So sometimes, it will be out of our hands.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We're very grateful for your wonderful presentation.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Nice meeting you all.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
It's
I want to
really
meet
an
you all
honor.
in person.
Yeah, it's really an honor for us today. Thank you
So,
Yes, yes.
No, sir. It is honor for me also to meet such people. Good people, thinking about such things is a boon to our society. I'm telling you. You see, very few people will be taking care of this type of issues, which you have all Jana Vedika, 241 lectures, 441. Somebody mentioned 200. Okay, 441. 400. So many lectures means and different topics you are all being educated and but what I suggest to all of our members is let us do something concretely on the ground. Concretely on the ground.
Yes,
See,
sir.
like
Yes.
these lectures and all will be there, you will be educated, but as somebody has suggested, let us do it in the field. Only at least one place, two places, demonstrate, then do it. That will be very, very nice.
No, we'll be in touch
We
with
should,
you.
we,
We will be in
yeah,
touch with you.
we should definitely take up your offer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
sir.
Thank you so much.
తెలంగాణ జనవేదిక 441వ సదస్సుకు ఇచ్చేసి కీలకోపన్యాసం ఇచ్చినటువంటి ప్రొఫెసర్ రామకృష్ణారావు గారికి మా తెలంగాణ జనవేదిక తరఫున ప్రత్యేకమైనటువంటి ధన్యవాదాలు సార్. అదే విధంగా ఈనాటి కార్యక్రమంలో పాల్గొన్నటువంటి ప్రొఫెసర్ సుధాకర్ గారికి, ప్రొఫెసర్ విజయప్రకాష్ గారికి, ప్రొఫెసర్ సుబ్రహ్మణ్యం గారికి, తర్వాత ఉమామేశ్వర రెడ్డి గారికి, అశోక్ బాబు గారికి, మండల పరశురామ్ గారికి, మనోజ్ రెడ్డి గారికి, ఇతర మిత్రులందరికీ కూడా పేరు పేరున ధన్యవాదాలు, నమస్కారాలు తెలియజేస్తూ ఈనాటి ఈ కార్యక్రమం ఇంతటితో ముగుస్తుంది. వచ్చే వారము